When I decided to do Mark Twain, I didn't look like Mark Twain. I'd never done anything like that. What it was back at Georgia. Well, I had read Mark Twain, Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, that kind of thing. But then I started reading about Clemens. Well, Clemens was a fascinating individual. And he did everything. He was a printer. He was an explorer. He was an inventor. He was a steamboat captain. He was a miner. I mean, when he wrote those books, he did all those things. And being an author, he was received all over the world. Then after I got out of school, and I started noticing posters for Hal Holbrook brings Mark Twain out. So I went to that show, and boy, that sold me. I was just enthralled because he really delivered him. And I told Linda, I said, you know, one of these days I'm going to do Mark Twain. So she went to Knoxville, and she had the Mark Twain suit made for me. But I had the suit already hanging in the closet, hung there for 15 years. I had books on every phase of his life. I really dug into it. And so I started writing the script, and then it came, oh, how are you going to do this thing? And I could not get away from Hal Holbrook's set. I was trying to create a different Mark Twain show. I reached back and I said, oh, I used to play folk music. And Mark Twain was a musician, and he loved to sing. He was a setup for music. And what I did then was tie the songs to the story, and it made perfect sense. And not only that, but it was very pleasing to the audience, and they could sing along with it. So it had all these benefits. And that made my show completely different from Hal Holbrook. Lord, that was terrible. We played all parts of the country. We had a job out in Hollywood and Washington, D.C., and New Orleans at the World War II memorial, which was a real honor to get to play there. Schools, colleges. I played Rhode Island University, which is a job that Linda booked, and it was a very prestigious job. But that was the caliber of places I was playing. Played a lot of community theaters, small theaters. I think the largest crowd I ever played for was about 900 people in Decatur, Illinois. I played at the Lincoln Square Theater, the place where Abraham Lincoln announced his candidacy for president. So that was just part of the benefit by getting to play these places. Met a lot of hundreds of wonderful people throughout this country. Twain said, a man who does not read has no advantage of a man who cannot read. Some of my tours around the country was in support of the National Endowment of Arts. In fact, in our own area, Woodstock, I worked for 2 solid weeks every day of the week in schools and libraries and theaters in support of the National Endowment of Art Big Read. And we put on the play Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and I was working with a very talented theatrical director. She took the Tom Sawyer play and put Mark Twain in it. I would introduce the play, and when the appropriate time came, I would play the banjo and play a song, and the kids would sing it, which pleased the audience, and they joined in. So it was very, very successful. It was a very rewarding experience. Did that for, I think it was 15 years total. And then I decided that I just about said everything I had to say, and was getting tired, and Linda was getting tired. She was getting very tired of the road. And I did the show in Canton as the beginning of the end, and we picked Canton because it was financially it made sense. I thought people would probably turn out for a farewell show, But I was overwhelmed at the response that I got from that show. Canton was where I had taught and coached and played music, and it was my hometown. But that night, many of my friends from all those backgrounds showed up. The big surprise was so many of my 8th grade students that I had. And that was a wonderful class, and we had a wonderful year together. It was packed. It was just packed. Lord have mercy, that was I should have stopped right then, because it wasn't going to get any better than that. But then I realized that I needed to work more and do more shows to finish it up. And I remember one of the highlights of that year was going to Chicago to perform for those people up there. Yeah, Chicago is where I came to when I came to America. After that, COVID hit, and it killed everything. Not just my game, but everybody. To me, it was a tremendous tragedy. If one of those men had been on hand when the deity was going to say, "Let there be light," we wouldn't have had it. I still enjoy Mark Twain. He's been a fixture in my life for so long. We sold out the house. The response of the crowd was very positive, and it was just a wonderful night. But it was on the front page, a nice photograph and a long, detailed article, and I think that helped a lot. Although I will say a large part of the audience were friends of mine.
You had a surprise visit from an old school teacher, I think.
Oh yeah, Miss Blackwell. She was my 5th and 6th grade teacher. So I mean, it was a real high. It far exceeded any expectation I had for the night. There were 7 of us siblings, and half of them were boys. Now, if you didn't get that, it's probably not too late to go out there and get your money back, because it don't get any better.